welcome to Kids Camp Presents. My name is Jill Garcia. I'll be your host today. I'm here with Bob Brown. Bob is here from Getting Customers, and we're going to have a little chat about technology. Bob, how are you today?
I'm great. It's good to see you, Jill.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. So what is Getting Customers?
So my company, Getting Customers, is about helping small businesses to be able to get more business by leveraging their power on the internet. And we do that through a concept called SEO, where we basically help people optimize their pages so that they can get more traffic.
Gotcha. So you said SEO. For people that may not be up on technology terms, what does SEO mean and what does it do exactly?
So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And what it's about is it allows you we actually do two things primarily. The first thing we do is we take your web page, whatever it is, and on that page there are certain words that the search engines need to know about. And so we need to tell the search engines what are the right words so they'll be able to find you. And then the second thing we need to do is we need to, in search engine optimization, is tell other people to kind of vote for you by linking to you or telling you about them, about social media, so that they're able to get more traffic to your site, because the search engines think you're popular because everybody keeps coming to your site and talking about you.
Oh, okay. So that explains how when I search something on Google, for instance, some things come to the top and some things may be on pages lower.
That's right.
Gotcha. And so what did you do before you started working with Getting Customers?
Well, so actually, most of my life I've been a computer geek. In fact, before I went to the Naval Academy, like the month before I went to school, I studied this computer book. First time in my life to look at computers, and then after I studied this book, I actually passed the class. I didn't have to take it at the academy. It was kind of fun, but then I had never worked with the computer at all, so they expected I already knew, and I had no idea. But that's where I've been my entire life, is technology. I worked for big companies. I even worked for SGI down here. They used to be over on the other side of Shoreline. Now they're the Computer Museum. And one of the last companies recently I've been working for has been Google. And so it's been a really exciting job, and I've had lots of fields and lots of things, but all in technology, all dealing with computers and the internet.
Excellent. And how do you think technology has changed the way that companies advertise to their customers?
Well, one of the things I do is I like to go out and share with companies exactly how I can help them. And so I'll often ask them a question. I'll say, how many of you out there in the last 30 days or so have used the yellow pages, the physical yellow pages, and pick them up to search for a company? And when I go to these meetings, it'd be like nobody raises their hands. And then I'll say, well, how many of you out there actually have searched the internet for a company? And they would say, yeah, and in the last 30 days, in like 80%, 90% of the room. So clearly that's one of the big changes, is that companies or people are searching on the internet for people. They're not using the yellow pages and the old technologies.
Definitely. And then I was just actually looking at your tie there. That's very interesting. It's got zeros and ones all over it. What is that all about?
Well, yeah, so, computers are all about binary, zeros and ones, and that's how it's counted. I even got this T-shirt that says there are like 10 kinds of people in the world, except it's just 1 0. And those that understand binary and those that don't. And probably about 50% of the people actually say, oh, I get that. Then they'll go like, I don't get it. But yeah, so computers are all about binary and how it works, but you don't really have to know about binary to really be able to work with and deal with computers.
Gotcha. And since you do work in technology, and you have been working in technology your entire life, do you unplug when you get home? Do you just, take the binary tie off and say, I'm just going to relax? Or what do you do in your spare time?
It's kind of funny. Actually, at work, I would just take off the binary tie and not wear the ties. I'd usually in a T-shirt.
Yes.
But I think there are two kinds of people, and I think there are people who, at the end of the day, it's like, man, I've dealt with computers all day. I don't want to do anything else. But I'm not that kind. Basically, when I get home, it's like, oh, this stuff is so cool. I enjoy it so much. I'm so passionate about it. I go home and play with the computer, too. So, no, I don't really unplug, because it's my passion. It's the thing I love to do and love to work with.
Excellent. And so you had mentioned off camera that you like to mentor people in technology. So what do you do to mentor, and who do you mentor?
Well, I like to mentor people because a lot of reasons, but one of the big reasons is by teaching other people, you can really learn something better yourself. But I think today kids and technology kind of go together, and it's important for us to have the young people today, grow up in a world where they can get more information and they can learn about technology. And I just love to see their eyes light up, and as they learn something new or they do something different or they accomplish something, build a website, and you can say, wow, look what I've created. So I really love that aspect about technology and the computers, and so it inspires me kind of to watch them work and to be able to work with them and help them do that.
And when you are mentoring kids with technology, are you helping them build websites, or?
I'll help them do whatever they want, but yeah, most of the time what they'll do is kind of one of two things. Either I have somebody that's really the, I guess we call them geeky. I'm considered a computer geek, and I can think that's a positive thing. And so there'll be those that really want to learn how to develop. How do I get in the back end, and how do I build sites that do this really cool, fun stuff, and how do I build databases behind them and interact and all that kind of stuff. And so we certainly have that group of people, but most of them, I think they just say, all I'd like to do is I'd like an opportunity to build a website, a simple website where I can communicate with the world my ideas and my values and the things that I want to share about with my friends and other people.
And what would you say the most created pages by the kids that you mentor?
Most created in the number of pages, you mean?
No, like for instance, what do they create pages about? Is it about themselves? Is it about sports?
It's really across the board, actually, because every child, every kid, every adult even has what's important to me, and so usually it's about something that's important to them. Many people, I think, the easiest thing for them to do, and they like to do, is just simply catalog their thoughts. It's kind of almost like an online journal, I guess we heard about when I was young, all these girls always writing their personal diaries. Well, now everybody's becoming a reality show, and I think they're writing their personal diaries online. So a lot of people do that, but a lot of people will talk about subjects that are interesting to them, whether it's politics or religion or sports or whatever is of interest to them. That's what they'll tend to write about.
Excellent. And when you're helping kids with technology, you had said that you read a book and you passed a test, but you really had no idea. When you're working with kids that are interested either, for the back end or are brand new to technology, do you have to have experience with coding? I mean, how long does it take to teach someone something like that?
Really kind of depends on what they want to do. If all they want to do is put up a blog and be able to interact with people and maybe have a pretty presence on the internet, I can sit down with somebody in half an hour, and in half an hour they'll have a blog up and running, and they're already posting to it, and they can edit it and change it, no big deal, and they're off and going. They don't have to do anything more. If they want to become a coder, somebody that's really going to build something fancy, and I want a job in technology or something like that, then it could take years. But again, you can learn it piece at a time, and you build your repertoire as you go along and begin to grow.
And what is your expertise in coding? What programs, or what would you call it, coding programs would you use?
So actually, most recently I've been working with a program called Perl, which is freely available on the internet, and so people can code in that. But it interfaces with a lot of other things. I mean, when you're on the web, you have to understand HTML and CSS and a bunch of these acronyms that you don't know about what they mean.
Right.
But again, you'd learn them a little bit at a time, and probably the best example, if you just go to a store and go to the computer section, look how many books there are there, right? You can't learn it all. I don't know it all, but everybody will pick the areas that work for them or that will accomplish the job that they need to do.
So I could pick up a coding for dummies and learn how to write in computer code if I wanted to make
You
a
certainly
page?
could do
Or
that.
I could call you and you could help me.
You could. I would let you do that.
And what do you think is the easiest code to write for kids to learn?
So I like to start them with websites for a couple of reasons. One, learning what we call HTML, the hypertext markup that actually builds a page, is really very, very simple. It's almost typing English and adding in a few pieces of code that make the page format in a certain way. And so you learn that fast. And so if you actually do that, you can actually put a page up and begin the process of understanding how web pages work in the first place. And so that's kind of fun. So HTML is usually where I start them at.
Gotcha. And so obviously, since you call yourself a geek and you think technology is important, why do you think it's important today for kids to learn about technology?
Oh man, there's just so many changes that are going on all the time. I mean, I was talking to you earlier about how, I remember the day when there was no such thing as a cell phone. I know that today the kids don't believe that because they never saw a day without one. But getting on the phone was like you had to have thousands of dollars just to pay for the bill every month. It was really pretty intense. But now the changes happen even faster. There's a new program, a new thing going on all the time. My wife just got the other day a new Windows phone, and it's different than the iPhone, and it's different than the Android, and so changes are happening all the time. They've got to stay up on top of things, and the only way they can do that is by getting involved with the technology and keeping pace with it.
Excellent. And so since you have been so involved with technology and you say that your wife's got a window phone, what about your kids or grandkids?
Well, you know, one of the fastest growing demographics today is actually on Facebook is women ages between like 55 and 65. And the reason why they're getting involved is because they want to contact and stay in touch with their grandkids, and one of the ways they do that is through technology. They've never really been able to do this a whole great deal.
Yes, my grandma actually has a Facebook, and I think that's how she keeps tabs on my sisters and I, and it's really actually kind of exciting to see her on there because we used to get just handwritten letters. So I definitely think for anyone to start learning technology is important. And so I would say if you had one piece of advice that you could leave the viewers with or kids today, what would that advice be?
Well, you know, to become an expert at something, they've said it takes like 10,000 hours to actually really learn it. And so one of the things I think we can do is begin actually working on the things that are of interest to you, rather than waiting for school to teach it to us or waiting for some class to come up or something like that. Learn. You can get on the internet, you can go to places, take classes, but find something you're passionate about it, and then always be learning. Wisdom is priceless.
Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate your time today. I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you for tuning in to Kids Camp Presents. My name is Jill Garcia. Have a nice day. Hello, welcome to Kids Camp Presents. My name is Jill Garcia, and I am here with Kanyon Sayers-Rood. Thank you for joining us, Kanyon. How are you doing today?
So far, so good. Glad to be here.
Excellent, thank you. Now, Kanyon is here today. She is a traditional and contemporary Native American artist, and she has brought a couple of pieces of art today to show us, and she's going to be doing some techniques. So, Kanyon, what got you into drawing? What made you want to become an artist?
Well, when I was younger, my father was very artistic, and then my mother encouraged me to share my creativity. And ever since I was little, I started drawing. And due to my Native American heritage and my culture, I am inspired by nature. I'm inspired by my roots. And so a lot of my work is around nature, is around plants, around animals, and also around our traditional nature about us. So pretty much very spiritual, very cultural. So I'm very inspired by my roots, and then I'm surrounded by creativity. So
excellent. And how long have you been drawing?
I was learning at 5 through 10, and then I got a little more serious while I was a teenager, and I just graduated from the Art Institute of California.
Congratulations.
And so I'm continuing my education. I'm always learning. So I learned when I was young, and I'm always learning today.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on graduating. That's an amazing feat. And so you brought a couple of samples here, as we kind of mentioned before. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the samples?
Well, today I'm going to be sharing an example of speckling, which is pretty much a lot of dots. And this is one style. This is just patterns. And my patterns are inspired by my Native American roots and also the Polynesian Islanders, so the natives of the coast, so to speak. So Hawaii, New Zealand, all of those areas, they use a lot of spirals, dots, triangles, basket patterns. And so this is one which is just symbols. So if someone can't draw animals, I'm great with certain animals, but not all of them. So I focus on design and beauty.
Excellent.
Today, I'm going to do a simpler version because this piece actually took me, I would say 3 or 4 hours, but I took a few days on it. So I didn't sit there for 4 hours straight. So I'm going to do a simpler version so we can go through this segment quickly. But I am inspired by the coyote, or a lot of people who identify this as the wolf. I'm not picky about that. I just love the essence of howling. And so I create an abstract piece where it's obvious you can see this animal howling, but it's very abstract. I'm not putting eyes and details and nose and fur, because sometimes it's really hard to do that. So that's my example today of speckling and just patience and dots.
It looks like speckling takes a lot of patience. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and let you get into your demo. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm
and
glad
why
to be
don't
here.
you take it away?
Yeah. So I'm starting today working with any type of markers. I am going to pick a random color. I haven't even decided which one. I think I'll work with purples, black, and, oh dear, blue. Haha. And so I tend to enjoy the howling coyote. I usually let my friends know, whoever want to try this technique, work with something you're familiar with. If you're great with trees, great with cats, dogs, horses, I am great with the howling coyote. So I like to put a little emphasis, always howling. And the ears. Oh dear. Nice big ears. And let's put a moon here. And let's see. So initially I like to work with my background, my interior pattern. So sometimes I do light spirals. So I mark my basic areas where I'm going to put that spiral, because you don't want to put so many lines, you just want the silhouette as the lines. And pretty much slow and patience with all of these dots. Sometimes when you want to focus the, let's see, the darker areas, you put a lot more dots closer together. And then if you want it lighter, you put them farther out, farther away from each other. And so pretty much if I want this line to show itself, I put a large formation of all these dots closer together. And sometimes if your hand gets tired, you just gotta let your hand breathe for a second, because if your hand starts to lack, it drops and then you get lines and it doesn't look like dots anymore. So pretty much you just focus and just keep going. And it's actually, because it's rhythmic, it can be considered like meditation. You're focusing on one task. You just have a goal of keep going. The goal of all these dots and just enjoying this one moment in time. That's why I like art. I really appreciate art because I'm not thinking about traffic, I'm not thinking about work, I'm not thinking about so many crazy things in life. I step away and I dive into my creativity. It's actually an interesting feat right now because I'm sharing my art, I'm sharing my mind, I'm sharing my words, and I'm working. So it's a balance. So if I trail off in my words, oh, I need yellow if I'm going to have this moon. And sometimes you don't always have to say, hey, I'm going to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to use this color. Let's put a spot. Oh, this yellow might not show up, but it's worth a try. Sometimes when you walk into art, you don't always have to have everything so structured, so focused, like this is going to be the piece that I make. Sometimes you just go at it. One time, my instructor gave me a homework assignment where it was just, when you're driving with your family or commuting, oh, well, not me driving. If you're driving with family, grab a pen and paper and just put your pen down and let the road allow you to draw. So pretty much the road or the turns actually make your hand move. And then you get creative after. So after this little bit of inspiration shows up, you then decide where the art piece is going. You don't always have to be so focused on, this is what I plan to do, and this is how it's going to be. And if it doesn't come out like that, I'm a bad artist. No such thing. No such thing as a bad artist. We all criticize ourselves a lot about art because maybe you had the intent of having something so realistic. Oops. Having something so realistic, and maybe it doesn't look too right. Well, don't make the majority of that thought say it has to be this. Be open. I've had so many amazing art pieces turn into a beautiful piece unexpectedly. it's hard for me. It's hard to do that because I am at times a perfectionist. So you just keep going, because honestly, when I came here right now, I did not know what I was drawing. I did not know the colors I was going to use. I did not know what I was even going to say. But I'm glad to be here, and I think this piece will be amazing when I'm completed. And I hope you appreciate it. But when you use this technique, and sometimes some of these dots are just so tiny. Maybe I want bigger dots. So you use different pens and different mediums, because sometimes maybe something's meant to stand out. Like these wonderful giant ears. These ears are meant for listening, and sometimes that's what we all need to do. And so with this technique, I just keep going, and we see what it becomes. There's other techniques that I haven't mastered yet. Some of them are crosshatch, which are lines, a lot of lines. And I have an unsteady hand, so lines are not my greatest piece, not my greatest work. So I don't focus my art on that. I like dots, because you can put them anywhere. If they're meant to be in a straight line, they're meant to be in a straight line. If they're meant to be cluttered, they're meant to be cluttered. And they're not all the same. So you can always just go with the flow. I decided to draw this big piece because it's easy to see and it's noticeable, but just like these other pieces that have taken hours and hours of my days, sometimes you don't complete it. So this is an amazing little intro of how a piece can evolve. And it may become something amazing when I get home. Some of my pieces are never completed. So I wish I had hyperspeed to share with you this entire piece, but this will be completed at another time. But I will share with you my technique that I've learned over the years, and just hope you enjoy it, or hope it may inspire you. If it doesn't, that's okay. Maybe it's just for me. But it is time consuming, very time consuming. You could get lost in it. I got lost in those other pieces. I just kept going, and I was just enjoying it. I create art to sell, and I don't want to sell them. But if the right person falls in love with it, maybe. Or maybe, actually, for my aunt, I created a tiny little card. And because it was so small, I managed to create it in an hour. And it was so cute. And her favorite color is yellow and gold. And I made it in those colors. And I had so much fun. And I just randomly started drawing it. And I gave it to her. And she just fell in love with it. And I'm like, you know what? This was meant for you. And so some pieces are meant to take forever. Some pieces can be given in a short while. And so I do spirals and also triangles and basket patterns are, I guess you would say, my thing. And so pretty much with my Native American culture, I am Costanoan Ohlone. That is actually of this area, the area of what? South of San Francisco and north of Big Sur. And we are coastal people. We do a lot of basket patterns, and we do a lot of work with shells, and we just take inspiration from nature. Well, pretty much all of our clothes are made of nature: hide, grass skirts, and amazing, beautiful necklaces of shells. But we carry our food with baskets. We prepare our food with baskets. And yeah, you can just weave a basket, but it's a piece of art. It's a piece of your everyday life, so why not make it artistic? So basket patterns are lines, zigzags, circles, dots, Z's, triangles, trapezoids, because it's always cyclic. Everything in the basket is spiral, because that's everything that is held together. And so a lot of my work has that, has bits and pieces of that. And I love it because it's natural. It's who I am. And so I share that with everybody. I'm proud of who I am, and I'm glad other people appreciate me. So with this, I'm a traditional and contemporary Native American artist. So my work is historical, and it also is contemporary by staying in today's times. So I use new mediums. I'm not using charcoal. Well, actually I am, but today I'm not. And so I just keep going. And this piece is not complete. I could spend hours on it, and I just wanted to share a piece of my talent with you. And I appreciate this moment I've had with this Kids Camp Presents preview, and I hope everyone enjoyed what I have. So, thank you.